Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
So the house I grew up on was across the street from a fire station. And although it was a pretty small town, there wasn't a lot of action most days. It only took one siren in the middle of the night to wail for a 3-year-old to be terrified for the rest of his life. So every single night, I had this routine with my dad when he would tuck me down and I would have to say this statement. I would say, "Dad, I am afraid of the thunder and the lightning and the fire trucks." Every night. And every night he would calmly answer the same thing. He would say, "That's okay, Jason. They're all in bed now." That was it. That's all I needed to hear. You needed to hear it every night, but that's all I needed to hear to have a perfect night's sleep. And that's the thing. When we're young, the world is noisy and overwhelming. It feels too big for us. Fortunately, our parents, as much grief as we give them, they always have our back. They reassure us, help us feel safe, and it's comforting to let them take care of all of the scary stuff, because they've been around the block a while. They're big and strong, and they know everything. And as we get older, our courage grows. We bravely venture out into the world on our own, exploring new things, and we get confidence, and we slowly build our self-sufficiency. But there are the times when things get a little bit too scary, or we fall and skin our knee, and we go racing back to mom and dad, to a place we know is safe. Well, eventually, as many of you know, you reach the point where your parents are no longer with you. Or maybe you catch up with them and you're finally surprised to realize that they don't actually know everything in the world. What then? Well, I don't know about you, but there are still times when the world feels too big for me. The noise, the pain, the problems, it's all too much. And yes, I am looking at you, 2020, the flaming dumpster fire only its mother could love. We've experienced a pandemic, lockdowns, economic downturns, unrest in our cities, natural disasters, all of this in a contentious election year. It's been overwhelming, constantly trying to figure things out. Again, that's the word we keep coming back to is overwhelming, trying to make sense of everything, figure out what I'm supposed to do next for my family or for my business. And the moments I feel most overmatched are the times when I forget that I'm not alone. What has saved me this year has been my morning routine. I've mentioned that in the past a few times, but it's been huge. Every single day I wake up, sit in the pre-dawn light in my rocking chair, which makes me sound like a real old guy all of a sudden. I've got my fresh cup of coffee, a pine-scented candle nearby, and I just sit there. I read the Bible, I journal, I pray. Sometimes I listen to music or read from a devotional. Sometimes I just sit there in the quiet before the kids are up and the world turns on for the day. It's bliss. And I never in a million years would have thought that I would be the person who would enjoy getting up that early. But now I wouldn't miss it for the world. It's like I'm a baby polar bear sneaking refuge into the shadow of his protective parent. And many times when I'm sitting there, I'll confide and confess to my Heavenly Father, and I'll say, "Lord, I am afraid of the virus and the violence and the division." And he responds over and over again in his word and in the still small voice in my heart, "It's okay, Jason. I've got this." Our bodies may grow old, but our souls remain young. We're always God's kids. We're always yearning for love and safety. Our smallness is a gift because it leads us back to him. And when we're weak, he's strong. My morning quiet times, they give me just enough to get through each day. I don't often experience any sort of grand revelations, mostly just reminders. When I think, how am I supposed to navigate all of this turmoil, I'm reminded I don't have to. I'm reminded that we were not meant to do this life alone. I'm reminded that I can be brave because I have backup. Maybe you could use a reminder. Maybe you need an invitation. So if you're navigating 2020 like a boss, by all means, keep on keeping on. But if you feel overwhelmed and out of your league, might I suggest seeking refuge in the shelter of your Heavenly Father, who loves you very much and's got your back. And when the alarms sound and the sirens wail and the world feels too big for you, remember that you have a mighty champion on your side.